Mortgage Coach members, welcome to the Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. Everybody on this call has a few things in common. You are dedicated to being an advisor and a coach to families buying homes and doing it in a way that's a competitive advantage with agents. And you're among the most successful mortgage professionals in the country. 34% of the top 1% are on the Mortgage Coach team. So welcome to a great call. My name is Dave Savage, CEO of Mortgage Coach. Every Tuesday, I'm interviewing someone awesome. Sometimes it's a top loan officer. Sometimes it's an author like Simon Sinek, Dave Ramsey, Darren Hardy, Coach Bill Hart. Sometimes it's a top realtor. So today I'm going to be interviewing a top realtor. I'll bring Nicole in just a few minutes. I did want to remind you that we've started a weekly call every single Friday at 9 o'clock Pacific. It's about productivity. I created that productivity program. Well, Darren Hardy created Insane Productivity. And then we created a proprietary version for the mortgage industry called Insane Productivity with Mortgage Coach. That's still Darren's product. I still recommend everybody signs up. But every single Friday at 9 o'clock, we're just talking about productivity. Myself and Todd Bookspan and a few other mentors who happen to be the top loan officers in the country. Those are all recorded, all put into our YouTube channel, including this call. So this call will be in there right after the call. I do want to remind people, last week's call with the creator and leader of the American Dream, Craig Sewing, was my guest last week. We talked about how he's using TV in San Diego market with agents and just, how he's really become a local celebrity and turned a lot of agents into celebrities. So last week's show was awesome. If you really want to become that digital mayor of the marketplaces that you serve, listen to last week's call with Craig Sewing. I thought it was really valuable, really good. So let's set the table for today's call with a realtor. So everybody on this call believes in this concept of a modern mortgage experience. You want the family, when they're getting your advice, to get it in a way that's relevant on their mobile device. First-time home buyer in a Pete's coffee shop going, hey, should I buy now or should I wait 6 months? Nicole, who I'm interviewing today, is one of Jeremy Forcier's clients. So, this video, we call it the Confident Decision video, I think really says it all. It talks about old school mortgage advice, yellow sheet of paper, PDFs. Again, at Mortgage Coach, what we believe is ask family questions and then deliver their advice in a way that's relevant, in a way that is today. And that means it needs to be on a mobile device. Jeremy Forcier, one of America's best loan officers, a mortgage coach, this is the way he delivers advice. And this is what we want all of you doing. So we're going to interview one of his agents today. We're going to pull out why she likes working with modern mortgage professionals, why she's a modern real estate agent. Again, what you're seeing right now is just an example of what it looks like to be a modern mortgage professional. So my hope is you're going to learn from a top agent, but you're going to just execute better. Most of you on this call, know what to do, but you don't always do it. So Nicole, let's bring you into the call now. I'm going to go ahead and take down some of the slides, and I'm going to jump on the screen because I always just think interviews are better when we're face to face. How's it going, Nicole?
Hi, good.
Good. So again, this is, I think, the third Mortgage Coach interview. You did one with Bill Hart, which, by the way, we're going to release an interview that Nicole did with Bill Hart today. In about 20 minutes, Bill's going to come in. We're going to tell you how to get that interview. That interview was 4 agents. So Bill Hart interviewed Nicole, 4 other realtors. I had you on a call a few weeks ago where you really helped us fine-tune our emails and our messages. So thank you for that. And today it's just really a top producer call about you. So let's start with your backstory. How did you get into real estate? Why did you get into real estate? And then we'll talk a little bit about your market and your model.
Okay. Yeah. So I've been in real estate for 3 years now. I just got my broker's license. Still somewhat new to the industry, but really entrenched myself into it. Prior to that, I was in corporate America. I worked in Silicon Valley at some startup companies and then some larger companies, with my last job being the director of talent acquisition for Cisco Systems. So my husband and I moved up away from Silicon Valley into the Napa Valley, and the commute was just too much. And I'd always been interested in real estate and helping people. And so I got my real estate license. And after about a year and a half in the business, started a team where we now have 18 agents, and we're opening offices into 2 expansion markets.
Wow. So your production, if you could give us, how you measure production.
Yeah, so last year, 2016 numbers, we did 191 transactions and about $68 million. This year, we're going to double that. We're closing about a deal a month. This month alone, we're at 22, and it's the 20th of
a deal
the
a
month.
day, by the way. Deal a day.
A deal a day.
A deal a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm sorry, a deal a day.
How many,
sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. And so how many families is that so far for the month?
22.
Wow. So you're going on your 4th year in the business, and you are killing it. You've built a team. How long did it take you from the time that you got into the business till the time you started building a team? And if maybe you could kind of go back to that first team member, what that was like and what your production was when you finally started the team.
Right. Well, my first quote-unquote team member was a transaction coordinator. I got my license in April, and I actually had my child in April as well. So I had a newborn baby and a new real estate license. And I got very, very busy very, very quick, and I was doing my own files. And so from April to October, I was doing that all on my own. And I remember I got up to 24 escrows and was like, I think I need a little help. I think I need somebody to do all this paperwork. I was literally, my office is pretty clean right now, but I had paper stacked up, to my belly button. And I was like, I think it's time to get someone to help. So my first hire was a transaction coordinator, and I thought that was the most amazing thing ever. I was like, why did I ever try to do my own paperwork? And then from October to about May that following year, it was myself, a transaction coordinator, and then I brought on a part-time assistant to help me. And in May of 2015, I decided it was time to start a team, and I didn't really know what that was going to look like, so I just hired a couple of buyer's agents. And quickly found out that wasn't exactly the model that I was going for. I wanted to do it more, have people have a little bit more freedom to do real estate the way that they want to do real estate, and not try to fit a round peg into a square hole. I want to make everybody be able to sell real estate, because when you're comfortable in what you're doing, the consumer sees that. And so as from May of last year until May of this year, I'm sorry, I said 2015, it was 2016. From May 2016 to May 2017 is when we grew from those first 2 couple of buyer's agents into what we are now, which is 18 full-time agents, a transaction coordinator, an assistant, myself, and a listing partner.
Wow. So I mean, you are a full-on, mega agent, a great team at this point. I think for this interview to be most valuable to the most people on this call, we're going to spend a lot of time back in the early days. What did you do in the early days to get here? And then first half of the call, let's really unpack who you are as an agent, and also do that in a way that's valuable. I want this video, like if you're watching this and you're not live, there's the 30-minute Bill Hart interview that you're going to share with agents. And then there's this. Think of this as like the workbook. Also, folks, I will have time for your questions. So if you have questions for Nicole as we're talking, put those into GoToWebinar. There is a place where you can submit questions. I will keep an eye on that. Not promising I'll get to all the questions, but I will bring in some audience questions. So please bring it on. So Nicole, let's kind of flash back when you were new. In order to get that kind of volume to where you could hire an assistant, you had to get some leads. You had to do some prospecting. So let's talk about what did you do as an agent, and then was there anything that a lender did do to help you back in those days?
Yeah, so when I got started in the business, I didn't know where to begin. There's no manual for how to be successful as an agent. There's all these general terms out there, all these general things, web pages that you can find that says just hustle, hustle, hustle. And I'm like, well, I'm hustling, but it's not working. And if you ask my peers, they said, oh, I do Buffini and I do the referral system. And I'm like, well, I don't have anybody to refer me. I just moved here. I know nobody. And so I went out and I did open houses. I was doing 4 or 5 open houses a week, and that sounds like a lot, and it was a lot of work. But I thought to myself, hey, look, I can sit here at this open house on Tuesday at 2 o'clock and have a potential buyer come in and convert that buyer, because I'm the only agent right now doing an open house, or I can be sitting in my office hustling. So I decided to start doing as many open houses as often as I could, get my signs out there. I'd even do impromptu open houses, and quickly my book of business built. And I didn't buy leads at that point. I wasn't spending money. The only money I spent was, I'd have little water bottles for people when they came in. So very, very cost-effective way of picking up new buyers.
So I love that, and I want to make sure we really unpack your open house strategy. So that was really it. I mean, you went from no business to saying, hey, I'm going to do at least four open houses a week, not just limiting yourself to weekends, but any day, anytime, being creative, being hungry. And that was where the buyers came from. That's where the business came from. Is there anything else that you did?
Yeah, so when I got big enough, I did start buying the leads. I don't recommend going in and buying leads at first, because you've got to know your market to be able to convert those leads. So I would say in November of 2014, just to give you a timeline, that was about 6 months into the business for me. I started buying leads, and I spent, a few $100s, and my business then doubled, because what was happening was the internet leads were reaching out to me and usually 3 or 4 other agents. But I knew the market so well because of all of the open houses that I did. I knew every house that hit the market. I knew everything about every house. And I probably even did that open house for another agent. I usually knew more about the homes than the listing agents themselves. And so I was able to speak so intelligently to the neighborhoods, to the schools, to what their mortgage program would look like in that, high balance area. All of those things that they chose to work with me over the listing agent, over the 3 other agents that they had calling them from Realtor.com or Zillow.com.
Okay, a couple things, because I want to unpack this, but I also want to make sure everybody knows your market. What are the average, homes in the markets that you serve? Real quick, just so everybody knows that.
We serve Napa, Solano, so the average price point in Solano is in the low to mid 400,000, and then in Napa it's about 600 to 700,000. So it jumps a little bit, and a different type of buyer as well.
Got it. So 2 markets. How far apart are they?
15 minutes. We're separated by a small little mountain.
No, but that's really impressive that you have figured out how to excel in both markets, kill it in both markets. Open houses are cornerstone to that. By the way, what is your conversion rate? Like when you think of the families that come through the open house, how many of those do you engage in a conversation, and what percentage of them turn into leads? If you could just speak to your conversion process a little bit.
Yeah, so we actually have an amazing conversion ratio. We convert about 27% of the leads that come in, which is huge. And we do that because we train our agents on scripting. We train our agents on adding value as a whole, selling our strategic partnerships with our lenders and our other partners that really make it a full suite experience, and the technology that we use as well. People love the technology, the simplicity of everything, and on the average, every lead that we get, about a quarter of them will work with us.
Wow. So 1 out of 4 people convert within what, a 6-month, 1 year, 2 months? Is there a sales cycle that you target for a lead?
Yeah, we usually have about a 90-day sales cycle. Things happen pretty quickly here. It's a pretty hot market.
Yeah, no, it is a very hot market. You speak to that in the interview with Bill. I'm going to try not to have redundancy between the 2 interviews. By the way, I see a few questions coming in. Good questions. I will get to them. You walk us through some scripting. How do you get into a conversation, or I know you don't do it now, you teach agents to do it, but the agents that are part of your team that are doing open houses, what are some of the ways that they are getting conversations with families and at least getting them up to bat to where they have a follow-up process? You can walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, so I am I'm not the type of person when you come into the open house that I follow you around and you must sign in, you have to sign in. I think people appreciate the authenticity of someone that's just like, hey, I'm here to help. I can be a service to you, and I will choose to work with you. It's really my choice. You're not going to find anybody better to work with. And so not hounding them when they walk in, usually myself and either a partner or lender that's working the open house with me, and we use our iPad and we use the Commissions Inc. app, which is our CRM, and they sign in. Yeah, they're awesome. And the iPad's super technology driven. We don't have to go back and enter our leads. Immediately when they log into the sign-in sheet on the iPad, they get an Insta flyer. So first of all, I know if they get the Insta flyer, they look at their phone and they go, oh, I got my Insta flyer. If they didn't, that means they probably put the wrong phone number in, so I can ask them before they leave to verify their contact information. So just kind of a two-step process, because I know that I walk into open houses before I was in the industry and my phone number was 999-999-9999.
I've done that before.
So verifying that information before they leave. And I just tell them, hey, I just sent you a virtual flyer. All the information is on there. If you have any questions, let us know. And I let them do their own thing. So I let them walk around. You know, I'm always within earshot in case they have questions. But it's, again, having that piece of technology. If they have questions like, oh, what's the square footage on that? You can say, did you get your e-flyer? And again, it's just another way to make sure that you're actually capturing the correct information, their actual phone number. And then before they leave, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, before they leave, we verify their information and we ask, hey, have you guys ever purchased a home before? And there's a lot of first-time home buyers out there. So if they say no, we ask them if they would be interested in learning about our strategic home buying strategy, and if they would be open to us emailing them a series of emails, no pressure emails, on how they should go about purchasing their first home. And then we have the same script if they have purchased a home. Maybe they're like, yeah, I've bought 10 homes before. And I say, well, have you ever used a strategic home buying strategy to purchase your home? Makes the process a lot simpler, smoother. And most of the time they're going to be like, huh, what, a home buying strategy? And so we put them on that 7-series drip system, whether they're a first-time home buyer or savvy buyer, and it's kind of catered to converting.
I love that scripting. By the way, folks, remember, this is recorded. You can listen back to that. I mean, adopt the scripting. I mean, be cool when people come in. You're not just like jumping on them. And then in a natural, organic, authentic way, get into a conversation, offer them something of value. Remember, she's got an iPad. Do we talk about iPads? You know, I mean, Nicole, as you know, because, you know, you work with Jeremy, we believe in every time a family gets into mortgage debt, they see options. Jeremy can put a video on it, you know, on a rep versus own, they can see why buy now. Any thoughts out there to the lenders out there that are on this call? Because you know Jeremy does that. What's your advice for lenders that don't do that? You know, how do you, any help you can do to push lenders to use their mobile devices and put valuable things for home buyers on, we'll put a mortgage coach, total cost analysis, on an iPad. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how people are not using technology these days. It makes it so easy. So with Jeremy specifically, when he sends out a pre-approval, he gets all of their information, and then he sends a link to the app for them to download with 3 or 4, you know, however many options they want with the breakdown. And it's so simple and easy, you know, and it's not just catered to millennials. I think a 90-year-old would appreciate the simplicity of just seeing on the screen in one snapshot all of your options, what your mortgage would look like. And then also I have access to that too. So as a real estate agent, I'm on the same page. I don't have to ask for a breakdown of what this scenario would look like if we went with this home price or at this interest rate. I can immediately log into the app and speak to the client as if I was the lender. And that's really valuable too, to be able to have that knowledge and that power.
Absolutely. So, by the way, I showed on the screen, this is a first-time buyer looking at their options, making a decision. You know, realtors want this. And by the way, Nicole is super tech savvy. You know, she came out of Silicon Valley. I mean, let's face it, she's on her 3rd year, and she's closing a transaction a year. So, I mean, she's on the high end of being efficient, effective in using technology. But every realtor knows they need to get there. And every loan officer needs to get there. So hopefully, you know, you're hearing it firsthand from Nicole, giving your families a total cost analysis. And then you heard Nicole saying, I got a link to it. So now I'm in the loop. Something that helps you be more effective and more efficient. Just makes sense. So anything else you can tell in terms of how you'd like your lender partner to help support your open houses? Any advice for the lenders on this call on how they can be the most helpful?
Yes. So from a selfish standpoint, I would say the best thing that you can do for a realtor is put their signs out for them. That's the best thing you can do is help them get their signs out there.
Because no one likes to do that. No one wants to
nobody likes to risk their life to run across a median because, you know, like that one spot in the middle of the highway is the best place for your open house directional. So jokes aside, though, it is awesome to have a lender there with you that if a motivated buyer is ready to purchase right then and there, to be able to pre-approve them and to have them have a takeaway of, here's 3 mortgage options for you right then and there. You can download the apps right to their phone. And it's so powerful to be able to do that rather than me saying, hey, hold on, let me see if I can get a hold of my lender. I know it's a Sunday, might be watching football. Hold on, just don't go anywhere. You know, to have them right there and say, hey, here's Jeremy. He's ready and to pre-approve you. Why don't you guys use the kitchen table?
Yeah, so Mortgage Coach members, does that sound familiar? And now you did the open house, put out the open houses. I hadn't personally thought of that. Although my wife was a realtor once upon a time, and I remember that was my job. Of course, I was her lender too. But by the way, that's a takeaway for me. By the way, anybody on this call who's helping support realtors at open houses, and you're doing that, I want to know that you're doing that. So let us know. But again, and Nicole, it sounds like you align. Your expectation is your lender has an iPad or mobile device that's effective at an open house. They are able to present options and give families takeaways, a la forward them a total cost analysis. That's a great way to serve. I mean, being there, putting out signs, having a mobile device so that they can provide options that are relevant and valuable. Anything else?
Yeah. Also, you know, having that device there, go live on Facebook, support your real estate agent and say, hey, I'm live here with Nicole Solari at our open house. Look at how many people are here. Look at her in action. The seller is going to see that, and that's going to make me look good too as the listing agent, you know, having 15 people coming through. And then live Facebook showing your support to your agent. I mean, there's so many tools that you can use technology-wise when partnering with a lender, and just the support of someone being there. For you guys, for mortgage professionals, you're sitting with someone, a real estate agent, for 4 hours straight. And I know everybody who's on this call has probably sat at an open house. It's not a revolving door. So in those 4 hours, there's a lot of things that you can do to get to know that person on a more deeper, stronger personal level and really connect with them. The lenders that I use today are the ones that were there with me at my open houses when I was not doing as much business as I am today, because I connect with them. I feel like they're friends now. They're more than just my mortgage professional, more than just a strategic partner. I know more about them than I know about some of my really good friends because we spent hours upon hours, you know, in an empty house together.
Right. And by the way, John Farrell, appreciate the feedback you're giving. He's mentioning that one of his agents loves what you're doing, but doesn't like this. So 2 things, John. One, I'm making this video, and we did that Bill Hart video, to help you lead, train, and inspire your agents. So maybe your agent doesn't know what they don't know, and maybe this video or the Bill Hart video will help inspire that agent. And then also, remember, Nicole doesn't do all the open houses now. She has buyer's agents that are out there doing it. So, you know, lots of opportunities to partner. So, by the way, the questions have flooded in. I'm just going to rapid fire a few things. What CRM system are you using?
Commissions Inc.
Commissions Inc. And that's the same software you're using at the open house to capture the lead. Okay.
Yeah, it has an open house sign-in sheet.
Okay, great. And then remember, everybody, while we're on this call, My Nest is a great app for Mortgage Coach to help start that conversation and get that lead. So make sure you have the My Nest app out. Again, for anybody on the call that doesn't have that yet, email mynest@Mortgage Coach. It's an early release, and we're only, you know, bringing it out in kind of a staged way, but a great open house solution. I don't think we've brought that yet to you, Nicole, but stay tuned on that. For the person that just asked for the copy of the scripting, listen to the call, play it back, write it down, and make it yours. The best script is your script. So don't just copy this. You know, listen to it, write it down, and then make it yours. By the way, Nicole, do you agree with that? I mean, from a scripting standpoint,
Absolutely.
For the person that said, hey, what's your script? Write it, you know, you got to make it yours.
You've got to internalize it. You've got to make it yours. If I say something, so I have a listing partner, his name's Matt. he's super boisterous, like very intense. As you guys can tell, I'm kind of an even keel person. If I used the same script that he used, pardon my language, I'd sound like an asshole. If he tried to mellow down the way that I talk, people would be like, is he on drugs? You've got to internalize the script. The concepts are there. You have your end goal, but just internalize it and make it your own.
Love it. And then this is from Sheila, questions are just blowing up. By the way, keep it up, mortgage coach community. How would you say to get agents to use the LO at the open house? So it sounds like you had this vision and you rewarded it. Remember, there's a lot of agents out there that are like, I don't want my realtor there. For whatever reason, any advice to help a mortgage coach loan officer bring leadership and be effective at getting realtors to partner with them? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have no idea what kind of agent would not be open to having a loan officer come to an open house if they're like, hey, I'm going to put your signs out for you. I'm going to door knock before all of the neighbors. I'm going to get your open house packed. By the way, I can pre-approve people on the spot, and I'm going to raffle off a bottle of really nice wine. How could someone say no to that? So I'll go back on those bullet points, right? So putting the signs out is huge. Nobody wants to do it. It's hot, it's sweaty, or it's windy and rainy. Whatever it is, there's always an excuse for it to suck real bad. Number two, door knocking. So part of the strategy that we use when having successful open houses is we show up an hour before and we door knock every neighbor to the left, every neighbor to the right, the houses across and the houses behind, and invite them to the neighborhood open house. And part of that is to pick up additional leads, to capture renters in the area, try to get more listings, signs in the ground, gives you more market share. If you say, hey, you do that side and I do this side, you don't have to show up an hour early, you have to show up 30 minutes early, and time is money, super valuable. The other thing I ask my lender to do is people who are on the fence about signing in, they're just like, no, and we've all been there, and you don't want to push them. I actually say, well, my lender here has provided a nice bottle of wine. We're going to have a drawing after the open house if you'd be interested. It's a 2006 Cabernet, really, really nice. If you signed in, you have your chance of winning, and there's actually only 2 other people who have come through today, so you have a really good chance. And, of course, the person who wins that bottle of wine is the person that you really want to follow up with, right? Strategic selection in the winner.
So I had 2 takeaways just now, looking at the questions, hearing what Nicole said. First of all, she gave you a new approach. For all you out there that say, oh, my realtors don't want, have you offered to put out the signs? Have you offered to door knock? Have you shown them how, hey, I've got a mobile app and I'm going to help drive urgency at the point of sale and get people off the fence and into escrow with you? Do they understand that and know that? And have you offered to auction off the bottom line? So, by the way, check with compliance, anything that, has to do with gifts. Make sure you check with your compliance officer to make sure that is appropriate and works within your compliance strategies. But have you tried that? If you haven't, try that. Now, my biggest takeaway of all right now so far, Nicole, is you do the work. It's just obvious. You're a hustler. You're doing the work. My guess is you're incredibly consistent at doing the work. I did a Skype interview a couple weeks ago with Josh Meadows. By the way, it's called Do the Work with Josh Meadows. I'm going to put a link, like if you're watching this video right now, I'm going to put a few links below in the description in a YouTube. There'll be the Josh Meadows Do the Work. There'll be the Mortgage Coach Confident Decision video, which I showed earlier with Jeremy. And then there'll also be Nicole's Realtor interview with Bill Hart. So check that out. But you're just doing the work, and you're getting, and knowing that you're working with Jeremy, you're working with lenders that do the work. Is it almost that simple?
It's that simple. It really is. It's kind of like having all this fancy technology and not using it. If you have the energy and the time, you do the work, the leads will come. Jeremy and I are a lot alike. He sends my clients and CCs me videos and follow-up emails sometimes 10, 11, 12 at night. And I'm the same way. People ask me all the time, like, how many hours do you work? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't clock in and I don't clock out. But I do the work until the tasks are done, until I've met or exceeded my goals. And it's really easy to say, oh, I'm going to go out and buy leads, or I'm going to go out and buy this fancy new app and a brand new iPad. But if you don't use it, it's worthless.
Right on. I love this. By the way, mortgage coach community, I do ask that you're respectful of Nicole and the relationship that Jeremy has with her. It was really cool for him to nominate her to come into the mortgage coach community to educate you. But for every loan officer in the market, please do not start following up with Nicole and trying to get her for Jeremy. I mean, if she was already on your list, hey, I can't help but that. But please don't flood her with solicitations after this interview or after watching it, please. Okay, how many lenders do you work with? Just give us a feel for, how, I mean, you're a whale agent, you're closing a transaction a day. Jeremy is a key loan officer, but just give us a feel for how you roll.
So we have 2 strategic partnerships, Jeremy being one of them, and then another loan officer being another. The market's kind of split. As I mentioned, Napa, even though it's, stone's throw away, Napa's a different market than the Solano market, and so we've decided to partner with 2. That being said, there are a lot of amazing loan officers out there, and when we have unique situations, we are always open to talking to someone who can give the best package or the best loan scenario to the consumer.
Great. By the way, I'm just getting Bill Hart on the call, so I'm not multitasking. Well, I guess I was multitasking, but I did want to let you know it was to make this call awesome. So, by the way, folks, keep the questions coming because your questions are actually better than my questions. So we know your conversion on open house leads. We've got a good sense of how you're conducting them, why you're so successful. What's your conversion on online leads? What percentage of those are you converting?
Yeah, it's obviously a lot lower. As you guys probably all know, when you get an internet lead, it could be someone looking for a rental, or it could be someone who just reached out because their real estate agent's out of town. So it's a little bit lower, but we're on the average between 11 and 15%, depending on the time of year.
By the way, that's a crazy conversion rate. We're going to come back to that because I can see that Coach Bill is on the call. Coach Bill, what's up, my man?
Hey, Dave, just hanging out with you guys. How are you? Nicole, how are you?
Hi, great.
So I am so fired up for this. Yeah, Dave, tell me what you've been doing. I'm coming in cold. I'm just sliding in out of a coaching session.
Yeah, well, this interview I'm doing with Nicole is for the mortgage coach community, i.e. loan officers. Your interview is for realtors. So I have 2 things I'd love for you before you jump back into more coaching sessions. One, I'd love to know your big takeaway from Nicole when you interviewed her. And then 2, I would love you to provide some framing for the mortgage coach community, how they can best leverage that video that you did with other realtors.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so big takeaway, Nicole is an absolute rock star. And I'm not telling you that just because you're on right now, Nicole. I want people to hear from me that, 3 years in the business, 191 homes sold last year in any market is unbelievable. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So I'm so remarkably impressed by how quickly you ramped up. And what I love is like today I posted my not profile picture. What would it be? What's the big one on Facebook? Anyway, I just said, we're in a hustle market, and are you hustling? And to me, Nicole, that's what you're doing. You're hustling. The story in this interview of how you held 4 to 5 open houses a week, put 15 to 16 signs out, did the twilight open houses, the wacky Wednesdays. The things that I want people to hear about from this interview is that in a world of 50 to 60-year-old realtors who are just kind of doing things the way that they've always been done, Nicole comes along, and other young people all around the country. But right now we're putting Nicole up on this spotlight, under this spotlight. To me, that's what's most exciting, is just the hustle. And do you want me to go ahead and answer the second part of the question then, Dave?
Go for it. I'm playing the video while you're talking, so just a heads up. This video, you will have a link available today. It'll be in Rate Watch. We'll probably put it on Facebook somewhere, and we're going to put it in here. But I'm playing the interview as we speak. So
great.
What should mortgage coach loan officers do with it?
Yeah, so okay, you're in the mortgage industry. Here's what I know, and I know because I do this day in, day out. And Nicole, just so that you know, I've been doing this 14 years. I think we figured 12,000 hours of coaching sessions, 12 coaching sessions a day, Monday through Wednesday. I've been doing this, and so from a loan originator's perspective, more often than not, they're looking for people like you. They're trying to figure out how to get your attention, or they've got someone like you that they've done a transaction for, and they're trying to kind of elevate the relationship. And so what I would say to you as a loan originator right now is this is the kind of story that if I coached you, I would lean into, like, watch this 3 times. Don't just view it once. It's short. Watch it 3 times. Internalize the story. Get excited about what Nicole did, and then share it with the specific agents that you want to build a relationship with or take it up a notch with, and look for specific areas where you could have a little bit of dialogue that will help them in their business. What I know is this. You're competing with lenders right now who are targeting the same realtors. They're trying to get their attention, but they're approaching them with stories about mortgage-backed securities, for God's sakes. They're talking about rates. They're talking about programs. And you know what? There's a place and time for that. But realtors like Nicole, or realtors like Nicole 2 or 3 years ago, they want to know, what can you do to help me build my business? And quite honestly, if you don't have like a can full of listings for them right now, which would be like the number 1 thing they'd like, then number 2 is share with them success stories that will help them to build their business. That's the thing to do with this interview. Listen to it 3 times, write down some key notes, key things that you want to have conversation with your realtors about, and use it to stimulate meaningful dialogue with realtors that want to build their business.
Love it. So I was playing the video, so you guys got a sense of it. You know, our team took it. We really put it together nicely. It tells Nicole's story really well, tells it from a realtor's perspective. And again, at Mortgage Coach, we want to help you have the kind of relationship that Jeremy has with Nicole. We want to help you use that total cost analysis, use technology to be a better coach and a better advisor to homebuyers in a way that serves agents like Nicole. So, Coach, I know you got to jump into another coaching session. Any last words of wisdom or any questions you want to put into Nicole before you roll?
No, Nicole, again, I just appreciate you so much. I wish you nothing but continued success. But with the loan originators that are on the call, I would just tell you, in a world of sameness, right, where mortgage originators around the country approach realtors in a similar fashion, be different. Dare to be different. Look for the lessons. Look for the clues that someone successful like Nicole has very generously shared, and take her story and let those little individual success stories become the spark of success for the agents that you want to work with. That's what you need to do with this interview. And with that, I'm going to bail and head out. Nicole, thank you one more time so much. And Dave, always a pleasure, bud.
Take care, Bill. Appreciate you jumping in. All right, Nicole. So, by the way, that was a really good interview you did with Bill. So, kudos to you. And so far, we've still got 22 minutes, but this has been an awesome interview. Super grateful for it. So let's see, where should we go? So I think we've unpacked open houses. Let's spend 5 more minutes on lead conversion for online leads. And then I want to make sure we get into low inventory and some of the things that you and Bill talked about, but I want to go a little deeper on those. So if you wouldn't mind finishing up where you're at on lead conversion and how you're getting those crazy percentages.
Yeah, it is crazy. I thought that we had super low conversion until I had a one-on-one meeting with Zillow, and they were telling me that the average conversion rate's around 3%, and then it made me feel really awesome. Like, really? I was worried that we were wasting money. And so I did a deep dive with my marketing person here and said, why are we having such success when the national average is 3%? How are we getting that 11 to 15% depending on the time of the year? And I think it comes down to persistence and following up with the lead, but on a very strategic level, not just calling and saying, on a voicemail, hey, this is Nicole from the Solari team. I got your inquiry online. Call me when you can. Like, anybody can do that. We're super strategic about how we get the client to answer the phone. So it seems like a lot. And anytime I tell a new agent that this is what you have to do when a lead comes in, they go, I can't do that. But you can. So we call, text, and email every single day for 10 days straight. And if after 10 days you're calling and texting and emailing and you haven't heard FU or you haven't converted, it's probably time to scale back a little. But that doesn't mean delete the lead out of your database. I tell everybody to never, ever delete a lead out of your database. I once had Jesus Christ register, and I sold Jesus Christ home 2 years after from a drip campaign that I had Jesus Christ on. It ended up, their name ended up not being Jesus Christ, but a normal agent would have said, oh, this is a fake lead, trash it. 2 years later, it turned into a listing and a sell buy side for me. So calling, texting, and emailing.
Love that story. I want to remind everybody on this call that I have interviewed Chris Smith, author of the Conversion Code, multiple times. We did a whole call on conversion, mastering lead conversion. I'm actually going to show it on the screen real quick, just because it's just a really important call. He echoes what Nicole just said, and you know, just that combination of call, email, text, speed to lead. Nicole talks about that a little bit more in the Bill Hart interview. And then everyone, if you want to maximize conversion, if that family is buying a home and they're not getting a total cost analysis, so that, you know, one, they're getting your best presentation, and two, you're getting an alert when they look at it. And you can call the family while they're looking at the advice and be at the right place at the right time. Nicole, anything else on that before we roll into the other topics that I want to make sure we cover?
Yeah, for the mortgage professional, I think it's important to ask the agents that you have those strategic relationships with how you can help them convert leads. So what we do is we actually assign all of our leads to one of the junior LOs with our strategic partners and have them call and just say something really nice about us. Hey, it looks like you registered on Nicole Solari's website. I'm calling from her office. I'm actually a loan officer here, and I just want to tell you how amazing Nicole is to work with. You're in great hands with her as a real estate professional. Also, I'm here to provide you anything that you may need on the mortgage side. And then that's really it. So it's just one more person besides you letting them know that they've made the right decision. Whether they've made that decision or not, it's just kind of hammering it home.
No, it's great. By the way, one more interview I want to make note of. I interviewed Wally Elderberry, and his, you know, big part of his business model is helping agents convert leads. Again, every family gets a total cost analysis. But I think, you know, I mean, he's referring an insane amount of home buyers. He's in Dallas, Texas. Make sure you check that out. So we've talked about open houses. We've talked about lead conversion. And again, I really do think it's almost that simple. Email, text, and call, total cost analysis, speed the lead, all wrapped with do the work and don't give up. You know, be ferocious. Did you hear Nicole? For 10 days, she is just rocking it out on people with her team. And you know, when they're calling, they're not hard sells. I mean, they're just like, we're here to serve, and they're committed to serving because they know they're the best in the markets that they serve. So Nicole, let's transition to this, you know, low inventory market. You know, you talked a little bit about it with Bill Hart. You know, we did that interview where we brought in Larry Kendall, and we talked about the dual market. You know, we talked about how to get move-up buyers into the market. But before we go into the dual market and how to get move-up buyers into the market, I want to hear your playbook for ensuring that your buyers' offers get accepted, because there's a lot of multiple offer situations. And not only do I want your process, I want how do you integrate your lender into that, and what can the mortgage coach community do to help get their buyer to be in the first seat?
Gotcha. So I started out working mostly with buyers and then kind of moved into listings, and now I do a combination of both, and so does pretty much everyone on the team. And I think my eyes really opened when I became a listing agent, and I saw from the other side what I as a listing agent was expecting from a buyer's agent and a mortgage professional, and what the seller's questions were when I sat down to present those offers. So I was really, really lucky that I had that chance to see the other side, and so I perfected how I present offers. And when we are in a multiple offer situation, more than likely, I'm confident that my buyer is going to get the offer, even if we're not the highest offer. It's all about making it a strong offer. In a time like this, the last thing that sellers want is to go back on the market. And it's more important for sellers, at least my sellers right now, to have a peace of mind and to be able to move on to the next chapter in their lives than it is to get an extra $5,000 on that offer. So when we present offers, we personally call the listing agent, and we have the loan officer reach out as well. So the loan officer personally reaches out to the listing agent. When I'm on the other side, when I'm a listing agent, I call every loan officer, and when a loan officer can call me before I reach out to them, it's huge. I put a big star on their offer when I'm presenting. It shows me, number one, that they're proactive, number two, that they're involved, and if there's ever a question, they're not going to go ghost on me, because we've all had that situation where, you know, shit hits the fan and all of a sudden the loan officer is like in the Bermuda Triangle somewhere. So having you guys reach out to the listing agent proactively is super important. Also, anything that you guys can do to get that buyer as approved as possible. Jeremy's awesome. So if he will do a VIP program where he gets all of our buyers completely approved, which means that all we need is an appraisal. So we can close FHA loans, conventional loans, in 17 days. So it's good as cash in most markets. So we can write a lot of offers just like cash offers and be competing against those cash buyers. So obviously cash buyers usually try to lowball, and so we get a leg up. The other thing that's super important is making sure that when you do that, that you're letting the other agent know, hey, here's how we're able to close in 17 days. Because I know that when I get those, I'm like, yeah, right, we'll see this. We'll see if this actually happens. So making sure that they feel good about that. Yeah, I mean, I think that when you submit an offer to an agent, that you as the agent is just as important as the loan officer. So making sure that you have that partnership.
Love that. So, folks, the questions are pouring in. I'm going to go through some of these questions. We are pretty much in the last 13 minutes. Actually, before I hit all these questions, I had some just fastballs I wanted to throw at you just to pull out some takeaways. If you had a favorite book that every realtor should read, what would it be?
So funny. My new favorite book, and I just came from Jeremy Fortier. He handed me this book, and it was about this thick, and I was like, you know, I actually don't know how to read, right? And it's called Tools for Titans. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to read this book. It's so big. I mean, I haven't read a book this big since I was in second grade, and the nun made me read the Bible. And I zoomed through it, and it was so awesome. The stories that those people share, you know, some names that I recognized and then some new names, it was life-changing. I mean, I literally changed some things in my life after reading that book.
It's an awesome book. It's the book of the year. You know, it's one of my all-time favorite books. And definitely that and Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink are, you know, two just amazing books. What did you like in terms of look back when Jeremy got the meeting with you? How did he get the meeting with you? Why did you meet with him? If you could just give us a little feel for that.
So funny story about Jeremy meeting with me is I asked to meet with him. I saw him coming in and out of our office, and he would always zoom past me and go straight to the people in my office that were top producers, and he'd always have like an armful of gifts and CDs and books. And I was like, who is that guy? He seems like really important. And finally, I was on the other side of a deal with him. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's Jeremy. And so I actually reached out to Jeremy and was like, hey, next time you drop off some goodies, could you leave some stuff on my desk? And he's like, who are you? Oh, yeah, sure, Nicole, of course. So funny story about that. But typically, you know, I'm hounded daily by loan officers. And I appreciate that because I'm a hustler too. So I never turn anyone down. I never say, hey, no, I'm not interested. But I do ask a couple of questions, and usually they're dumbfounded. You know, be ready for the curveball questions or the fastball questions. Like, I'm like, so what makes you different than any other loan officer that's called me today? And they go, I work really hard. Like, that's it? That's all you got? Yeah, exactly. So be able to, you know, differentiate yourself and say, look, let me come by. For me, the important thing is when I meet someone in person, I feel a lot more connected to them. And so whenever I'm trying to convert buyers or sellers on my side, I try to go for the in-person appointment. So try to meet this person in person, and you're going to have a lot deeper of a connection and be able to try to get, you know, some business from them.
Would you know, we teach mortgage coach loan officers to really talk about how by their process, you know, having a hopes and dreams conversation with the client, putting those hopes and dreams, you know, on a mobile device with graphs and charts to help, one, improve conversion, two, just create the most mind-blowing, memorable experience for the family possible, and do it in a way that really honors you, so that buyer has a sense of urgency. Would that be a good answer? If they just said, yeah, my mortgage experience has better conversion and is more memorable than any other loan officer, would that be good?
Absolutely, because I don't hear that. You know, it's something different
Right.
and unique. And I'm, you know, do a little research. My Facebook is open. You can go online. You can pretty much feel like you got to know me just by 5 minutes of internet stalking. Before you call somebody, get to know them online. The internet's super powerful, where you can get to know people before you even talk to them and speak to the things that I'm passionate about. If you go on my website, you'll see that I'm a CAR advocate, which is the California Association of Realtors. I'm highly involved in the National Association of Realtors. I'm consumer focused and consumer driven. So what Dave said when he spoke to making dreams come true, to me, it hit home, because I'm like, oh gosh, we're doing this for the same reason. It's about the consumer.
Yeah, no doubt. So, and by the way, that's another thing, you know, target agents. I mean, Nicole is just, you know, she's just perfect. She's modern, she's family first, and she's all about systems, technology, and just being a natural, hardworking, cool person. So anything that you don't like that you see lenders do, any other things like you're just like, I hate it when they're doing this or they're doing that. You know, don't be that lender. Any advice?
I think this goes for anybody, not just lenders, but, you know, own it. If you make a mistake, or if your underwriter makes a mistake, or your processor misses a document, just own it. Don't try to say, well, this happens, these things happen, this is real estate. Just say, I messed up and I'm going to fix it, and here's how. Very solutions oriented. I hate when everybody like tries to put the blame on everybody else. You know, what do they say? You know, when you point one finger out, you know, you've got three more pointing back at you. It's so true. Exactly.
Yeah, which, by the way, brings up another one of my all-time favorite interviews. So if you go to our YouTube channel, I'm going to pull it up really quick. So our all-time, you know, best interviews right here, you know, Simon Sinek, I'm sorry, you know, that just changed. The mortgage coach mission came from from Simon Sinek years ago, but extreme ownership from Jocko Willink. Listen to that interview. This mortgage coach scripts, who's in it? Jeremy Forcier, one of America's best. And then these 5 strategies. So I see a lot of questions that if you have not watched this mortgage coach scripts call, if you've not listened to this 5 strategies to maximize your realtor referrals, you're just missing it. So for about a third of the questions that I see coming in right now, that would be what my thing. One person is asking for the book. It was Tim Ferriss, Tools for Titans, or Tools of Titans. Which one is it? Tools for or Tools of? Anyways, that's the book that was just mentioned. So Nicole, we're in the last 5 minutes. You know, one thing that really struck me when I met you, I don't know, a couple months ago, Jeremy referred us. You just had this, you want to make change, you want to make a difference. Where are things going to be for you 2 years, 3 years from now? What does your life look like, and what does your real estate practice look like?
Yeah, funny you should say that. I've actually been called a disruptor, which has such a negative connotation to it, but I think it's an amazing thing, right? I'm disrupting the market, but I'm doing it for the right reasons. I'm making it a more enjoyable place for real estate agents and loan officers to work, a fun environment, and elevating the consumer experience. You know, the consumer has choices, and they're going to choose the best. But sometimes they don't know how and where to find the best. And we want to make sure that when they're going to go and they're going to put their biggest asset in our hands, whether it's as a real estate professional or as a loan officer, that we're going to bend over backwards and we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that not only are we doing what's right for them, but it was a good, positive experience and they walk away happy. And so they want to refer their mother, their brother, their sister. When they go to resell in 3 to 5 years, they're going to call you and, you know, go move up and buy that $1 million house using you as a loan officer.
Love that. Love that. So now you're going to be speaking at an Inman conference. Where is that and when is that coming up?
It's in August. I want to say August 27th. I can send you out the
Third
details.
week of August.
And it's in San Francisco. Who doesn't want an excuse to go to San Francisco?
Right. So by the way, I went to my first Inman conference in New York this year, and it was like awesome, good. You know, I mean, it was
mind-blowing.
I've been to a lot of the best events in the mortgage space, and it was a tremendous educational experience. And I was just shocked how few lenders were there. And so I do recommend, you know, as you're a lender, you should look at Inman conferences. Obviously, the next big event in the mortgage industry is Sales Mastery. I will be there. You should be there. Sign up for it. But I really recommend everybody starts checking out Inman. And if you really want to get smart around how to be a leader to agents and to be around some of the most modern agents, I mean, I think that's the best way to put them. They have that consumer first concept. They recognize technology is an enabler of change, and they need to use it, and they're at Inman. So check out Nicole, sign up, you know, inman.com. So we are in the last 4 minutes. Let's see if there is a question that I want to bring in. For those of you that asked about specific mortgage coach calls, there'll be links to them. If you're watching this in a recording in YouTube, so if you already were on this live, you can just go to the description in the YouTube channel, and there'll be links to the calls that we talked about. A lot of you are asking me to repeat things. You know, just watch this again. And remember what Coach Bill said. If you want to really make Nicole's scripts yours, you need to do the work. You need to listen to the call again. You need to write it down. You need to make it yours. You need to do the work, and then you need to get out there and do it. So there's that. So I'm going to put up a poll now. I have a feeling we're going to get really good results. But on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 is just we wowed you. We surpassed the expectation you had for this call. How do we do? If you are new to the Mortgage Coach or you're a guest on this call and you would like to get a demo on Mortgage Coach and learn more about it, click the last one. By the way, Nicole, you knocked it out of the park. I think this is one of the best reviewed calls of 2017. I can tell you right now we're going to add it to our top calls for 2017 playlist. And actually, I can't think of a better realtor interview that I've done. This has really been an outstanding conversation. Appreciate your time, Nicole, and I look forward to bringing you back into the Mortgage Coach community. And I am super grateful for how committed you are to making change with consumers and pushing loan officers to deliver a Mortgage Coach experience. Although in Jeremy's case, I know you didn't have to push him too much. He brought that to you, but really appreciate your leadership in the market.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter.
Take care, everybody. This is a wrap.